welcome to this update video. I hope you're doing well this morning. We're going to be looking at what's going on across the Caribbean. So there is a trough still around in the area, and that's been helping to influence the rainfall activity in the region. Some areas have been receiving some heavy rain, such as parts of the Virgin Islands, some spots in Puerto Rico, and even sections of the Lesser Antilles as well. So we're going to delve straight into what is expected for today. And we're also going to be talking about the Saharan dust. It's been blanketed in many areas, and it's likely to persist across the Eastern Caribbean throughout the week. So let's get straight into it. As we zoom into the region here, we can see some thunderstorms in the South Caribbean just offshore Panama, but much isn't really happening in much of the Northern Caribbean. However, there is that activity within the vicinity of the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and sections of the Lesser Antilles, particularly the Leeward Islands. And within that area, there could definitely be some additional heavy rain and thunderstorms as we head throughout today. And sometimes those very quick downpours can result in some level of flooding. So should you encounter any floodwaters today, guys, please be safe as best as you can. Turn around, don't drown. All right, now it is time for the question of the day. So your question is, there are many cloud types. What is the name of the clouds that form at the highest altitudes? Save your answer. You'll know if you're correct later down in the video. As we move on to the rainfall forecast, here we can see that it gets pretty colorful within this area, indicating that there could be higher rainfall amounts, probably up to an inch or so for parts of the Virgin Islands and the Leeward Islands as well. So Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Saba, St. Eustatius, you guys may experience some additional downpours today. As we head toward Hispaniola, sections of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands, and going to Jamaica, there could also be some showers around, and especially in the afternoon, some thunderstorms. So, the environment is favorable to actually support thunderstorm development, and that's been happening recently. For sections of Central America, including Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, parts of Honduras, the Bay Islands, much is not expected today. But then as we head to parts of El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, gets a lot more colorful. Some of those purple shadings even popping up here and there. So there could definitely be rainfall amounts well over an inch within the area. And then for Colombia, parts of Venezuela, and the Guyanas, there could definitely be some heavy rain today. Much not expected for the ABC Islands, maybe a passing shower at the most. And then for the rest of the Lesser Antilles, I didn't mention Guadeloupe southward through Grenada, including Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago. Some showers may definitely move by today, but not at all a guarantee. Cayman Islands, a whole lot not expected. Same thing for parts of Florida as well as the northern Bahamas. Now, this is a look at the Saharan dust forecast. So as we're going to be heading into tomorrow, we can see that, it's still going to be across much of the Eastern Caribbean, blanket in the Lesser Antilles, even parts of Northeast South America, the ABC Islands going up to Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. Eventually, some of that dust may make its way to Central America, Jamaica, and Hispaniola as well. So the dust is definitely around, and it is pretty dominant right now across the main development region. So let's go back to the satellite imagery here, and we can see that much is not really happening right now, because what the dust does is it kind of helps to stabilize the environment, to reduce atmospheric instability, and that in turn leads to less development in terms of those showers and thunderstorms. And that's likely that reason now preventing us from really seeing things ramp up offshore Africa. But nonetheless, it is pretty likely that we're going to be seeing things kicking up very soon in the tropics. Now let's go ahead and talk about this updated forecast here. So this is from the Climate Prediction Center. This is the updated Global Tropics Hazards Outlook map. So the latest update was yesterday afternoon. And we're focusing on the Caribbean and surrounding areas. So we can see that there are not really any green shadings or those red or striped shadings in the Caribbean. So for the pretty much the rest of May, going all the way through the 28th, development is not expected in the Atlantic Basin. So Again, as I mentioned, that pre-season development would be possible this year. It still is, but based on the dust, making its way across the Atlantic, that's really kind of helping to stabilize things. And if it continues to persist at this rate, we could actually not see pre-season development and could have our first system in June. And that doesn't speak for the entirety of the hurricane season, but it is good to have the dust around because it does help to reduce development. However, as we head to the Pacific, we're seeing that red and white striped area offshore Central America. So we could see development in that area, which is something I have talked about, especially in yesterday's updates video, where models are actually hinting that we could see an area of low pressure form and intensify offshore Central America in the Pacific. The Pacific hurricane season begins next Wednesday on May 15th. And looking at the sea surface temperature map, we can see just how warm the ocean surface is in the eastern Pacific. So offshore Central America, sea surface temperatures up to 32 degrees Celsius. So with other environmental conditions being favorable, that would allow for rapid intensification. But the good news is a lot of these systems that form offshore Central America, they just move out to sea and not to be a bother for anyone. So we'll see what happens for next week. We definitely have that consistency with the recent predictions from the Climate Prediction Center, highlighting the area that, hey, we could certainly see some development here. So again, an area flow pressure may form and it may take advantage of environmental conditions to intensify once they are in fact conducive. Nonetheless, I'll be keeping you guys posted, and should we actually have a named storm over there, the first name on the list is Aletta, and for the Atlantic Basin, the first name on the list is Alberto. So again, with the Atlantic, we've got a lot of dust around that's kind of helping to stabilize things across the main development region, but regardless, the hurricane season is eventually going to be kicking in, and it is still forecast to be an above average one. And now we're going back to the question that I asked earlier. So, there are many cloud types. What is the name of the clouds that form at the highest altitudes? The answer is cirrus clouds. So cirrus clouds, they're the highest clouds. They form at altitudes higher than around 6,000 meters or so. And they have that feathery, wispy-like appearance, and they're mostly composed of tiny ice crystals. And sometimes you guys may see halos around the sun, that colorful ring, that rainbow ring around the sun, and you would actually notice that sometimes cirrus clouds are around. So because of those tiny ice crystals, they help to act as a prism to break down sunlight into the various colors. So sometimes when it is looking a little bit gloomy outside, you may actually see those solar halos form. But yeah, cirrus clouds, they are the clouds that form at the highest altitudes. And so guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope that you found it to be quite informative. However, if you have any questions, do feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I get the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.